first small business slash studio vlog. Let's go, I guess. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Catherine, but my family calls me Yaya, so you can call me that too. And I am starting my own pottery business. I kind of said I would, so that's what I'm gonna do. But before I get more into that, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who watched and liked my Learning Pottery in Jingdezhen series. Seriously, the fact that people sat through footage of me fumbling with clay for a month is surprising and also means a lot to me. So I finished editing and uploading the final video in that series last week, but that series was actually filmed last summer from a period of July to September 2024. Now it's April 2025. So it's been a while and I wanted to catch you guys up on what I've been up to. I'm just having an espresso, by the way. Oh, it's strong. So after the series ended in September, I flew back to New York City and I decided not to stick around, not to get a new job there. I emptied out my apartment and I did what figuring it out 20-something-year-olds do. I moved in with my parents, which I am really grateful for. So that's where I am now. Since moving in last October, I've been settling in, taking care of life stuff, health stuff, you know, just getting my bearings, and also starting to set up my very own at-home pottery studio. And not just to continue learning and making pottery, but making pottery with the goal of eventually selling it. So yes, I'm gonna say it one more time to make it extra real. I am starting my own pottery business. A couple things to know about me. Number one, I've always wanted to be self-employed, be my own boss, whatever you wanna call it. And two, I'm a bit of a dreamer. When it comes to my life and my future, I refuse to believe that I can't live it the way I want to. When I fell in love with pottery in China, I thought to myself, this is my chance. So I'm gonna take it, which means starting work right now. It's currently 9:58 a.m. So I popped in the studio earlier this morning and I'll get back in there later today. But for right now, I have some admin work to do. Some emails, content planning, YouTube channel maintenance, basically anything and everything that needs to be done at a desk. I'm also working on a really exciting project. I don't want to announce it until everything is finalized, but here's a little hint. It's for those of you who also want to take pottery classes in Jingdezhen. Super excited for that project to go live, fingers crossed. But yeah, enough talking, let's get to work. Okay, I've gotten a good amount of work done. There's still a million things I could do, but at some point I gotta get myself back into the studio. So let's go. It's really hot out here. Here we are, my home studio. If you want to get specific, it's my back porch studio. Change of clothes and a smoothie to keep me nice and cool. So hate to break it to you, but we're not actually gonna be doing any pottery today. We are gonna be building a shelf. So the studio has been functional for, you know, a few months now, meaning I've been able to make things. The wheel I purchased in November, and the kiln shortly after that. Everything else in here just kind of trickled in, and I've been repurposing furniture and supplies from the house for this space. But recently, I decided I needed a couple of furniture upgrades. This new storage shelf I got from Costco for 90 bucks, and it's gonna be replacing this shoddy shelf in the corner here. Not only is it small, it's also unstable because these shelves are made from glorified cardboard, essentially, and they're bowing. I'm still gonna keep this here. The new shelf is actually gonna go right behind the camera, kind of fence in this studio space and make it a little bit more cozy. So yeah. Remember this before, because by the end of the video, it's gonna look a little bit different. In addition to the shelf, I also purchased a new workbench. It'll replace the plastic folding table that I'm currently using. In my experience, furniture building always takes longer than you think it's gonna take you, and this stuff is pretty heavy, so I'm just gonna be tackling the shelf today.
Hello, I missed you for a dream. The engine glowed. I guess you always.
Don't get me wrong, my time in Jingdezhen was really educational and eye-opening, but it was streamlined to make the student experience as easy as possible. For example, instead of wedging and preparing our own clay, there was a pug mill, and the apprentices were the ones who operated it, so we didn't have to lift a single finger. Now that I'm on my own, I have to deal with reclaim, wedging, and maintaining my clay inventory, and all the mold that comes with it. The fact is, pottery is 10% making things and 90% cleaning, waiting for things to dry, waiting for things to fire and cool, reclaim. That big blue bucket behind me is full of reclaim that I really need to process. So yeah, let me finish making this shelf so I can deal with that before I head in for the day. Guys, this shelf is making my life so miserable right now. As you can see, I'm still not done yet. Am I admitting defeat? Maybe. Either way, right now I need to take a break. Last task for the night. That smell brings me right back to China. It smells like the hospitals in China, which is like weirdly a good thing. I found my sponge. I've been looking for this for a week. Whew, looks good. Shelf is done. I didn't want to subject you guys to any more furniture assembly, so I finished building off camera. As you can see, I've already put it to use. This bottom shelf here is my clay. And my kiln stuff. My kiln wash, tools for scraping the kiln shelf, if some glaze gets on it, hot hands, that kind of stuff. On this shelf here, we have greenware and bisque. I also got some tools for hand building and my bats here. Greenware on the right and bisque on the left. There we go. Tier 3 over here is like eye level for me. I guess. I've just designated as frequently used. My trimming blades that I switch out often, brushes, buckets, stuff that I find myself reaching for. Tier 4 here is glaze and surface decoration. I'm just gonna write glaze. All my glazes are up here. Aside from my spray glazes, which need to be in the shade, and my gallon glazes, like my clears, I just have those two behind the camera because it does get a little bit sunny here and I don't wanna put heavy bottles on this. I would love to have a wall shelving system that I can use to display these test tiles, but that's a later project. And lastly, up there is just miscellaneous. Right now, there's not much up there. I just have some of my old Jingdezhen pieces. I think this is like a 4th grade art project. It is supposed to be me. This is my kiln god. I made this in Jingdezhen. I pray to this little guy every time I close the kiln lid. Speaking of, we have a kiln opening to do. But yeah, this is the current system of organization. Once I start producing more, I might need to make some more space for greenware and bisque, but for now this works. So kiln is at ambient temperature, 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, I did take a peek earlier, of course I did, but let's just pretend that I'm seeing this for the first time. I know my kiln shelf is messed up right there in the corner. That is like a glaze drip from a previous fire. I tried to fix it, it went questionably. Let's just ignore that for now. So, got 2 things in this kiln. I'm really happy with the way this little cup turned out. So I threw this little guy off the hump. It has a little bit of a step, a little foot, and of course, my maker's mark. I've opted to use underglaze to write my signature. I trim bone dry, so I can't really stamp my pieces with my mark. I have to either carve or draw them. I found that with carving, it can lead to cracks, and I think I prefer the look of the red underglaze. It's a nice contrast with the base white color of this porcelain, and it sort of evokes the look of a Chinese signature stamp. So yeah, I'm very happy with the way this turned out, and it just looks gorgeous. The second thing in here is a plate. This is the very first plate that I completed in this studio. It's a pretty simple side plate, straight walls that have a slight curvature. It's kind of hard to see, but this is actually a crackle glaze. I'll show you in the light. I think that'll help. In this case, the crazing is the desired effect. So this is actually a refire. The first time it came out of the kiln, it had some pinholing going on and some inconsistent crazing, and I wanted to see if I could fix it. So I test refired the glaze on a test tile, and it produced some pretty favorable results with more pronounced crackling. So I felt pretty good about refiring this guy. It looks like it was the right choice because most of the pinholes have sealed over and the plate looks pretty good. I think I'll just be using this in my own kitchen. The last big changes I need to make in the studio are adding my workbench. That's gonna go right here, and my reclaim system is gonna go underneath the workbench. And I want to move my kiln from where it is here, plugged into the wall, to over there. Move this out of the way. So this is kind of an awkward position because it's right in the entryway, but the problem with this location is that when it rains torrentially, the water can come in and get all of this area wet. And I just don't want anything happen to the electrical. So yeah, I kind of wanted to get that all done today, like build the workbench and also move the kiln. But clearly that was me seriously overestimating how much strength and patience and time I have. So that will happen whenever it happens, hopefully before the next rainstorm. In the meantime, I'm gonna reward myself with some wheel time. Previously, I was trimming, and when I trim, I usually like to have my stool a little bit lower. When I throw, I need to have leverage, so let's adjust this to the highest setting. I find that this is extremely important, not only for efficacy when throwing or trimming, but also for saving my back. Ready to throw. Wood chip, tiny one. I am throwing with reclaim. I I'd say that 90% of the time I'm throwing with the techniques that I learned in Jingdezhen, and I'm throwing off the hump. But throwing plates was really not a focus there at all. So what I'm doing now is more of a Western technique. It's like a mashup of different techniques I've seen potters on YouTube use to throw plates. So this clay is a little bit hard. Usually it's easier to throw plates with very soft clay. I'll just be patient in getting this flattened. Always keeping my elbows anchored against the inside of my thigh. These days I'm really liking making plates. Though I am rather limited by the size of my kiln, I can only throw small plates, like something for a dessert or a side. I find myself gravitating towards rounded forms, a sense of fullness and softness. You know, I love a good bubble plate, but I also like elegance and functionality. So for me, I tend to go for a more modest version of the bubble plate, something that's a little less exaggerated and cloud-like, more just satisfying in the fullness of the rim. Let me show you. I know there's a few different ways to make bubble plates. One of them is where you make like two walls essentially and like connect them at the top, but I much prefer to just fold my rim all the way over. And I like to make these walls fairly thin because I'm gonna be closing the shape entirely and you can't trim the inside of the loop. In the interest of keeping this plate as light and functional as possible, I like to make sure these walls are nice and thin. So now that I got this shape going, I'm going to carefully round it over. And you actually don't need to be like too delicate about this. I like to create a sort of ledge where I know this lip can land. Now that you've gotten to this point, apply some outward pressure on the inside of this rim to get the edges to meet. I like to wire them off when they're freshly thrown, and I leave them on the bat until they're dry enough to lift without warping. And to protect my hands from these wires, I just like to wear some gloves. Get that right underneath, and I just wire away from myself. That's one plate thrown. Let's see how many more throws I have in me. So this clay is one that I have been having some issues with. It's like almost thixotropic. It seems like it's really soft, but then when you apply force, it just becomes immovable. I still haven't gotten the hang of it. I don't know if I ever will, to be honest. Let's just see how this goes. See how it's like almost like jelly? Look at that, it bounces. So weird. It just doesn't want to center. Uh-oh, shoot, I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding. That's it, I'm done with this. One plate. That's all I have to show for today's work. I'm just gonna let that dry until it's ready to trim. I wish I could have thrown 3 plates in the time that it took me to throw 1, but you know, I feel great. The space just feels more open, but at the same time cozier. Like there's less stuff and clutter on the floor, but it's more closed in and neat and clean, excluding the mess in the sink, which I'll have to take care of still. But yeah, I couldn't resist having a drink out of this new cup. Here's the cup again. I've got a little bit of orange blossom honey in the bottom. Got my pot of this super yummy herbal floral fruit tea. Give it a little stir. I think I'm actually gonna give this cup to my mom. It's her birthday this month. Hopefully she doesn't mind that I drink out of it. You know, I'm not a natural in front of the camera. I've been nervous and stressed the whole time filming this vlog, including when I was throwing, and especially when I was throwing. I feel this strong urge to explain myself, like slap a disclaimer on everything I do. Just so you know, I've only been doing this for 6 months. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not that good. I'm still figuring it out, blah, 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 blah. I catch myself questioning whether I can call myself a potter and whether I'm even allowed to even think about selling my work. Then I remind myself I don't have to be perfect to make good work. That's pretty much the conclusion I arrived at in my last video, my epilogue to my time in Jingdezhen. I'm no master, but I can throw some genuinely nice pots. And honestly, what better way to learn than on the job? Normally, I'm the type of person who likes to hide away and perfect something before I show anyone. So showing all this in-progress stuff is genuinely uncomfortable for me. But I want to show what it's like to start from the beginning, all the messy parts of learning a craft and starting a business. Because I know for sure that I wouldn't be embarking on this journey and posting this video if not for the hundreds of videos posted by other potters and art business owners that I watched leading up to this. So yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, back in the office. So many of you found my channel through my video. I went to Pottery Bootcamp in China, where I documented every day of my 10-day pottery course at Master John's School in Jingdezhen. Master John's School is where I went from complete pottery noob to throwing forms like this, and these. A lot of you were super interested in attending that same course, but were held back by the fact that it's conducted in Chinese. Well, over the past few months, I've been working with Master John to create an English version of that course at his school. I'm so excited to announce that this new course, which we're calling the Global Pottery Bootcamp, is officially in motion. I won't talk your head off by explaining everything here, but the link in the description has everything you need to know about course curriculum, which includes lessons on throwing, trimming, sculpting, firing, underglaze, overglaze, molding, casting, etc., as well as course structure, tuition, housing and meals and accommodations, and how enrollment will work. And if you're new here and haven't seen my Pottery Bootcamp video, it's the best way to get a sense for what this Global Pottery Bootcamp will be like. I'll also link that down below. But yeah, definitely open that link because it has a lot of good stuff in there, including a discount code for if you want to enroll in additional classes at Master John's while you're there. I'm so pumped about this course. I wish I would have had it when I went to Jingdezhen, because even though I can speak Chinese, it would have been super helpful to be able to receive instruction and ask questions in English. This Global Pottery Bootcamp is basically the same amazing experience I got in Jingdezhen, but even better. And who knows, you might even see me in Jingdezhen later this year. Okay, that's all. Go check it out, and I'll see you next time for real this time.